Sorry, everybody. That was a bit of an abrupt end to the music there. But welcome to the second episode to doing fortnightly. Hey, Kyla Smiler. I load them. But the second, we aim to do this fortnightly. So this is the second episode of Base Take. Veteran competitive FPS player and movement-based. Shvok, welcome back. Your second time on our little show.
Yes, good to be back. Sorry, I was just looking at the feed. I'm trying to fix my camera because every time it does, it flips my camera.
Yeah, you're flip. I was gonna say you're the other way.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Okay,
Yeah.
he's moved. He's actually
All right. That's better. But yes, good to be back. Hello, everybody. So yeah, it's good to be back. I know there's a lot. You know, we had the holiday in the U.S. last week. There was a lot going on there. But a lot has happened since our first episode. And I was actually so I actually found out today. Valve is actually involved in 2 different lawsuits, and I only knew about the one.
I didn't know about any until you mentioned it, and I was like,
"Oh, you didn't know about any of them?"
No, I mean, vaguely or something. Someone made a meme about Gabe Newell like not bothering to go to court or whatever, and I was like, based,
right,
Gabe. Apart from that, and I thought that was something small and frivolous, so I didn't pay much attention to it. But why are they in court for 2 cases?
So one, and this is the one that I knew about like a while back. This I think this goes back to even, gosh, like maybe a year ago or more. But it was a antitrust lawsuit. So basically, there were some entities going after Valve as a corporate, like Valve Corporation, because of Steam, saying that the way that they run Steam and everything, that they're basically a monopoly, and that something needs to be done about that. And and the irony. So there's a couple things wrong with this lawsuit. The first being some of the entities that went after Gabe, like some of them were like groups of like, I think, indie game devs. But then there you had places like Epic were a part of it, and Epic has their own game launcher. They have their own digital store. Microsoft has their own digital. So some of the entities involved had their own digital distribution platforms, which are direct competitors to Steam. So that's the first issue with this is you can't really argue that they're a monopoly when you yourself are a form of competition. And they want to argue you're using a monopoly because of how much market control Steam has. Well, okay, that's because your product sucks and nobody wants to use it. Like Steam, think about it. We've got the Epic launcher, the EA launcher, whatever the fuck Microsoft is doing, good old games. So you've got at least 4 other mainstream options, and everybody defaults to Steam if they're able to, right? Because some things are exclusive to like Epic or EA or whatever. And then so that's the first problem, was kind of the hypocrisy in that. And Valve did point that out. They brought in something to present as an argument in this. And then the second thing is the scope for which they're trying to define Valve as a monopoly. So the problem, the second big issue with the lawsuit is they've narrowed the scope purposely to paint Valve as a monopolistic entity, when reality is they're not. At least not yet. Are they? You could argue that they're on the line of that, but they're not. Are they big? Yes. But are they a monopoly? No. And so one of the more recent filings that Valve made, or their legal team, I should say, made, is they made some kind of filing. I forget the exact name of it, but basically it points out it basically says like the scope of which you're defining Steam as a monopoly is too small. You can't just artificially define or you can't just artificially narrow the scope to paint the defendant as a monopolistic entity. especially when, again, there are alternatives. Um, and also they also broaden the scope to include like, okay, there are other forms of digital distribution outside of PC, right? There's you got the PlayStation Store, Xbox, whatever the fuck Nintendo's doing. Um, so those are the two prominent lawsuits, and that was case number. Hold on, I just pulled it up. 221 CV 00563 J&W. And that's in the Israel. Wow, I was looking at something else. Israeli.
He's going there.
Washington.
Pretty
That's
wild.
in the Washington Seattle court system. Sorry, my brain went somewhere else.
Gabe Newell versus Israel.
Gabe Newell. Anyway, so yeah, sorry, Washington, Seattle. So and that's part of the filing, right? Is so they filed because recently there was a lawsuit between it was between, I think, the FTC and Meta, I think it was. And basically it ruled in favor, like basically saying that Meta is not a monopoly because the way they defined what a social media platform is, it's like, well, obviously that's bullshit because one, Meta's a part of Facebook, and two, there are other forms of social media out there. So they used that ruling, or they just recently used that ruling to basically help their case of like, hey, a similar case already happened, and this is the ruling on it. So that was presented. So that's one lawsuit. That's the one I knew about, was the antitrust lawsuit.
Yeah.
For those just joining us, we're talking about the lawsuit that Valve's involved in. The one that I didn't know about is there's apparently a lawsuit between Valve Corporation and the Rothschilds. And this one, I was like, fucking gut 'em, Gabe. Go, baby, go.
But this is where Schrock brought in Israel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Rothschilds, Rockefellers, there's yeah, that's my mind just automatically went to Israel. Anyway, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. So between Valve and it's not the Rothschilds directly, but it is a Rothschilds owned company, if I'm understanding this correctly, and it's case number 23 CV 1016 in Washington Seattle court system. And this was for what is this patent. So basically Valve is going at, so I guess something happened with like patent infringement or something, and like this entity tried to come after Valve, and Valve's like, brother, one, this is an issue. Two, we already settled on this. Three, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
I mean, you can go look it up. I'm like, I haven't read through all the documents yet, so I don't want to speak too much on it.
Supposedly infringe.
So I didn't get that far. I just have the patent number, and I didn't go look it. I hadn't had time to go look it up yet. I just have the docket number. So I don't know exactly what the patent is. I just know it's a patent lawsuit. And it looks like, again, much like the antitrust lawsuit, that they're winning this. And I mean, honestly, I hope they win both, but especially this one, because fuck the Rothschilds. Yeah, that's been interesting. That one I didn't know about, and like news on this dropped like late last night or earlier today is when I started seeing it pop up on my news feed, and I was like, oh, I need to go check on this.
And then Schrock went, but I'm going to play Battlefield 6 instead.
Yeah. Well, contrary to popular belief, I'm not an unemployed Battlefield player. I do have a day job.
I think you're one of the few people who, because of the nature of your day job, can then also, like, because of what you do, that allows you, like, I see it pop up, Schrock plays Half-Life 2. Like, I can't work. And I'm like, is that his lunch break? Because it comes up. But you're in a rare position where computing is your career field, so it's like,
yeah,
this guy's fucking passionate about it. Like, that's...
I mean, yeah, there are times during my workday where like I don't have any meetings.
I feel sorry
I'm on
if I've
top
just
of
got you in
my
trouble.
work, and my computer's just like right there. So I'm like, yeah, fire up something, dick around on my computer for a little bit until somebody inevitably, pings me on Teams and is like, "Hey, I need something," and you know, then that's that really. And then there's other times where I'm like, I've just left a game running, like I'm not actually playing it; it's just like
I do that.
running in the
Yeah.
background. So, um,
Um,
fake playtimes, I guess.
fake play. Yeah, yeah. Contrary to what that was pretty.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I think I don't know. I think on the first point about Valve supposed is right. Forgetting the what a monopoly actually is. Now you're right. There is out there. It's just not like EA Play folded.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, and they've incorporated like you do store where you buy the pass and play the games through. Sorry about that, through the Steam store. But then it's like, well, is it really a monopoly if consumers prefer and really like Steam? I mean, it's not, but even that point aside, people like it. People love Steam. They're very
Yeah.
generous with their sales. They like the business model. And in fact, people post on Reddit all the time these incidences where they've lost access to their account, or this one guy said, "Hey, I went through a really bad bout of depression. I deleted these games I paid for. I'd like them back. If you can't, that's fine, but I'd like them back if possible." And Steam were like, "Yeah, here you go. Here it is. Here's the full library." And I think they kind of move away from that image of being a faceless corporation. Not to mention Gabe being very hands-on with fans and teasing about Half-Life 3, which in the last 2 weeks you say a lot's happened. That didn't happen.
HLX.
HLX, exactly. Talking of HLX though, I'm a big fan of Tyler McVickers, because I think he and Gabe are very good of data mining. Bringing it to the people, bringing it to the streets. But yeah, back to the original point. People love Steam, and I think, when you were talking about it, my first thought was like, they kind of sound jealous and they're bitching about the fact that people don't like their products they're offering as much. They feel ripped off. It's fucking annoying. And they're constantly trying to get more money out of you. At least with Steam, it's like, hey, you get access to all these great sales. And hey, install us on another computer when you move countries. And guess what? Everything will be fine and we'll help you if it's not. But with these guys, my God, is it a disaster? And Epic, I mean, since they pulled support on Unreal Tournament, I mean, you're not going to win any medals at that. And that was a great game. But yeah, that's my pro Valve rant. I'm always very pro Valve. Pro Gabe Newell. Nirvana says Steam does take 30% of sales from games. So I have heard that from indie developers. I have heard that. The percentages are way higher than other platforms. Also DRM. I don't know what that is actually. Is that direct? I don't know. Issues, obviously. I have heard that, and indie developers in particular aren't too happy about that. That's a valid point, but I suppose they're like, well, we can do this because we're so big and you get access.
Well, yeah, and there is, so again, from what I know, because that what Nirvana mentioned, that 30% thing is a part of the antitrust lawsuit, the one that I did know about.
I did one.
And from what I understand of it so far, again, I got to do some more reading on it, but from what I understand so far, that whole 30% number both is and isn't true. So if you're a small dev, like it's not 30%. It's I think it was like 20 or 25 or something, whatever the percentage was, up to a certain number of units sold or something, versus if you're like, a company like EA and you put Battlefield 6 on the Steam store, that is 30%. Like, because they're a huge entity, they have a very large, like, audience or consumer base that is going to buy the game on Steam. So but that's not to take away from the point, right? Is that, yes, it is higher than some other distribution platforms. At the same time, it's not like this static number either, and it does scale. And there are some, from what I understood, from what I've read so far on the lawsuit, there are a couple of gotchas in that whole thing. So it's like it's kind of like this gray area where you it's like, I don't want to say good faith argument, but kind of like good faith, kind of like a gentleman's agreement. Like, okay, like this is kind of all right. You're walking on a thin line, but so far you haven't messed up yet, you know. And again, and we talked about this last on the previous podcast is, you know, I'm really afraid of what's going to happen when Gabe or and his family is no longer in the picture or a part of Valve, which that day will come, like it or not. And you know, because I mean, right, look at somebody like Google, right? When Google was starting out, you know, their whole thing was, you know, do no evil, and like they were the good guys in tech, and look at what they are now. Like that quit being true, what, a decade ago. So it's like, yeah, Steam's doing okay right now. They're on the line, but they're staying, you know, uh they're staying to the to you know to to the better side of that, right? But how long is that going to last, right? So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's a double edged sword. But you know, at least in this point of time, for the lawsuits that they're currently facing, I do think that it's kind of BS. Um, Now, on the point of DRM, I do agree with that. DRM is bullshit. And again, this is something we talked about on the previous podcast, or the, you know, our first one was, you know, if I buy something, I own it. You do not get to tell me what to do with it,
Yeah.
who I can and can't share. You know, if I right, like if I buy a movie on DVD and my best friend's like, oh man, you know, I don't have that, I can be like, I can lend it to him, be like, hey, you know, watch it, give it back to me, whatever, right? Which is not illegal, because I see some people who have had their fucking brain stems removed on making comments on
That's
in various
piracy.
places about how that's piracy. No, it's fucking not. Piracy is if Schwach buys DVD, Schwach then copies DVD and starts selling the copies. Now we have a problem. But if I'm just like, hey, I take my DVD and I'm like, here you go, man. You know, watch. I don't know, pick movie. Watch. You know, I've got Golden. I've got the entire James Bond collection. I've got a whole the anniversary DVD collection. And be like, here, you know, go watch some of the old Sean Connery stuff. You know, give it back when you can. You know, just don't fuck up my shit, and we're good, right? Um, you know, I bought it. It's mine. I can do that. If I want to lend it to somebody, I can do that. If I want to take it in my backyard and light it on fire, I'll do that. You don't get to tell me what I can and can't do with the things I buy. And that includes my computer and the software on my computer. Fuck you. Like that's anyway.
I can see your blood pressure going up. But Lady Mist Dragon says basically why I buy games from Good Old Games whenever possible, but Good Old Games still has
Yep.
less indie games, and Nirvana said other platforms. When you buy it, you own it. Amen, brother, says Kyla Smile. Nirvana says, but you can't show it at an oil rig. Um, yeah. Yeah, I think the only other one I've used is Good Old Games, actually. They seem
Yep.
quite
Same
fair,
here.
a good selection as well. So arguably they are the only
God.
viable competition right now.
They are. And again, this is why that whole antitrust lawsuit thing is bullshit, because GOG, you can really use GOG to make the argument that Steam has competition, because the one thing that, like, I think GOG is posturing themselves to take over as the good guys when
Yeah.
Steam inevitably stops being the good guys.
Yeah.
What was that?
You've got
Oh,
a new follower.
that was my follower alert. It just went off.
And it's the
Okay.
Half-Life scientist. That is based. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah.
Do you know
Hello,
what
Gordon.
though? I will say hello, Gordon. Someone who knows
Who
how to
was
use a
that?
gun. You're like,
I don't even
yes,
have my alerts up.
that's Kyler Smiler. He's
Oh, Kyle, yeah, Kyler Smiler.
I
What's up, man?
met
Appreciate you.
I met Kyler through Miss Slaughter's community.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I know Miss Slaughter. I've played games with her back in the Quake days. Yeah, I know her
Yeah,
very well.
she is. She
I don't know
is.
if she remembers me, but I know her.
she's
Um,
she's good. She's good and really nice. Well, I don't see her on as much now, but I think I can't say that. Like, you know, me of all people. So yeah, no, talking of Half-Life though, just to row back because I fucking it just takes you back to a time in gaming where it was so, and I'm not saying it's not now, uh, but I would say less so. Um, but when it was so creative, like they went out, they shot photographs to
Mhm.
texture, and we see them in game,
Yeah.
and now people are like, hey, this texture is like some lorry trailer back here in this location that we can see on Google Street Images, for example. But that stuff's cool, or like the patterns on bugs and things like that useful in Zen, and you think, oh my god, don't you just love that? And the Quake engine was so good in that you could
Yeah.
so much. I mean, like my dad doesn't know, like he can do some computer stuff, and he briefly like worked. It wasn't his thing, but he got me into Doom when I was really young, and I was like, "So what did you like about it?" And he just said it was a really good engine. And I think,
But it still is. That's the thing. I mean, even today in Source 2, there are still lines of code from the original Source engine. Um,
yeah,
and to me, when at least right, because nothing's ever truly perfect, right? But as far as like our human definition of perfection, like to me, that is perfection because it was so good, it was perfect, and so just so perfect. In fact, that even though it's been iterated on time and time again, as I just said, like even in Source 2, there are still lines of code from the original Quake engine,
yes.
because Half-Life Gold Source was just a heavily modified Quake version of the Quake engine.
Was it Quake 2, Schvock? It wasn't Quake.
Or Quake, yeah, sorry, yeah, Quake, yeah. Sorry,
No,
you're
no,
right.
no,
Yes,
no,
it
no.
was
It's
Quake
not.
2.
It's no. I knew what you meant, but I didn't know. I always think in my head, because I watched this really good YouTube video the other day on this title that Ion Storm did, that was kind of lost to time, but apparently the writing in it was really funny. I'll have to get the name because it's quirky. Maybe Lady Miss Dragon knows. Um, but they criticized it because they were like, well, it's an antiquated. I think it was 2001. Maybe it came out, and they were like, oh, well, it's old now because it's Quake 2 engine. But I guess Half-Life, I mean, it's hard with that coming out in 2001, and you had Half-Life in 98, and it was moving so quickly then. But I think was it Quake 2? It wasn't Quake 3, was it? That technology that Half-Life came out on.
Yeah, no, I think. Well, so if I remember correctly, because I believe they mentioned this in the Half-Life documentary, like the
That was
beta, like the original, like the quote unquote lost beta footage from the original Half-Life. I think that was running on the original Quake engine, or they had just, or no, sorry, they just ported to Quake 2. That had just gone to Quake 2. I don't know if there's any Quake 3 tech in there. I do know there's Quake
ported.
2
They
tech.
started on the Quake 1 engine.
I
Quake 1.
think it originally started there, but then like when things like the little bits of footage and things that we do have from the Half-Life beta, or not even beta, but the Half-Life alpha, that's all those animations, that was Quake 2. So like from there on out, it was like Quake 2. Again, I think I might be wrong on that. Um,
So
but
I actually have the sorry, you just saw my start bar come up. I actually have, because it's really easy to download and it's super small, the Half-Life Alpha 1.41 version.
yeah.
And you could just load it, and it is the Quake. It's still got the original like Quake not placeholders, but menu and console and everything. And it's janky, but it's so good. It's so, I don't know. It's so cool to see where it came from. But it was hard. Like I tried playing through it, and the head crabs would kill you. Like it was just like crazy overpowering.
Yeah.
Yeah. But oh, I just love seeing the development. There's something special about that. And even before, because I managed to get my hands on a copy of Half-Life 2 Raising the Bar, so there was some early lore in there as well. It wasn't. But even before Half-Life, they were developing this game called Prospero, and we have only but a few
Mhm.
screenshots from that. And I think some of the textures were then reused in Life 1. But I'm like, I wish they would reveal more about that game. I was low-key obsessed with it while like digging through forums like to find. I love unreleased Valve material,
Yeah, I
and
do too.
I love it, but I can't find anything. But I think they adapted some, they took some stuff out from Half-Life. Some of the Half-Life soundtracks are still called like Prospero 1, .wav, and then put into Portal. So, but Valve are always creating projects, leaving them, and then they go back to the project, but then it's reborn in some other way. Um, so I think that's why Half-Life HLX is going to be super interesting. I'm also keen to.
I'm I
Oh,
listen. I'm gonna laugh. I've said this to other people. I'm gonna laugh hard if HLX turns out to be something in relation to what's that new multiplayer game that they've been developing?
oh, Deadlock. Can you
Deadlock.
imagine?
I am gonna lose my shit if it's like
So will the internet.
HLX is actually the official Deadlock, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
I said that. I said that
I'm
to.
ready. I'm telling you, I'm ready for that. I'm like,
I know. I said that to Tyler McVicker. I was like, "Is this going to turn out to be Deadlock?" And he was like,
this
"Lol,
is
yeah."
Deadlock. Um,
Oh man, that guy gets so much shade online. I don't understand it. I'm always like one of the defenders because he puts his heart and soul into making these videos. And yeah, like had that thing where he pissed Valve off, but he learned his lesson. But
yeah,
people are always like, "Oh, he just like puts out this fake information." He doesn't. He puts a YouTube video up for free that we don't pay for, and then it's up to us as individuals to decide whether we want to take that information and be like, "Oh, Half-Life 3 is coming out tomorrow," but it's free content. You either watch it
yeah.
or you don't. It's not like you're paying for it. Like, I'd understand that, but I don't know. I think a lot of people get very emotional about Half-Life 3 and then they look for
They
people to
start
blame.
they start injecting that hopium right into their veins. It's like weapons grade. Um,
Yes, there is an
but
epidemic.
I did see something Nirvana said about Call of Duty running
Oh,
on
yeah.
a modified version of the Quake engine. Yeah, I knew about that.
I did.
Which is interesting. So Source Engine is essentially just well, the Source Engine Gold Source was a heavily modified version of the Quake engine. Source Engine was kind of their own thing, but still has remnants of. I'm talking about Source One, not Source Two.
Yeah.
Source Engine has remnants of the Quake engine still within it, and then you have games like Titanfall, which is a heavily modified version of the Source Engine. So it's like modified Source Engine, modified Quake. Like there's just this chain of
Yeah.
modified engines that goes back to Quake. It's like I'm telling you, like, again, define perfection. How many things even in modern gaming that were successful that you can still trace back to Doom or Quake?
Oh,
Like,
so many.
I
So many,
mean,
man.
whether it's the game engine, a mechanic, whatever. Uh, so much that can be traced back to it. So I just think that's interesting.
It's very
But
interesting. I did actually write about in my I had this university paper, it was Freakonomics, and I did write about this in my university paper, and I got a good grade on it. And because I sourced it properly and I remember the citations, and
you sourced it properly.
I sourced it properly because about they call it the forking effect, where you have and I think we were talking about creative destruction, and it was like a tangent off that, and
Mm.
obviously this was destruction, but it was I said, well, this is like an example of the forking effect, where one thing then adapts into several others, and you get like a fork and all these branches. I was like, ID Software did this, and then and I was
Mhm.
like, if I source it properly, I'll get a good grade, because that was my passion. So I was like, I'll crowbar this into my economics paper. But that's it's a fork effect, 100%. And when you look at it, and it is on Wikipedia, the image, and you see how many game engines, not just games, but the engines and the iterations came out of it. Crazy. id Tech 5, or the ones, but yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
What are we on now? Like EdTech 8? I lost count.
I
I
don't
actually don't
know.
know what we're on now.
I think one of the things I do miss, though, I will say about, and we haven't seen much of this with Half-Life Alex, I game, but I do miss the mod community Quake and Half-Life had. I feel
Yeah.
now, apart from Cyberpunk, that's got a pretty good mod community, even though it's very messy to do. I still think I miss that all the mods you
It's not the most intuitive thing,
have.
I will certainly say.
Yeah. No, because I did try it with doing makeup and things like that, and it was like you can't create. I don't know. I won't go into it, but it's quite confusing. At least I tried. Um, but yeah, I miss the modding. Go onto Half-Life Deathmatch, and there are custom player models, custom maps, and I feel that nowadays it's quite, I suppose, because of console players and consoles, maybe, um, everything's kind of, don't really get custom maps anymore. What you have is what you get, and you have to
Yeah.
buy skins, like they've commercialized it as well. But we were talking about this before we went live. Um, but I don't really play modern now like you do more because I just find it too, like, I don't like matchmaking. I like old school. I miss how it used to be, and I find it kind of very hard. Although I might get Battlefield 6 for the banter and the
Uh-huh.
but I miss how it used to be. But you know what? That's why it's great to have you here, because you're actually still playing it, right? So, you know.
Yeah, I think we haven't quite hit the tipping point yet for modern gaming, modern AAA gaming or quadruple A, whatever, however many A's they're sticking in it now. Um, but I think we're getting there soon. Um, because I mean, you can just tell there's just kind of this general like fed upness. If that's even a word. I don't even think that's a word, but just in general with
Apathy?
yeah, thank you. With modern FPS, and single or multiplayer. Um, and actually speaking of, so some of the issues you brought up, Battlefield 6. So some of the issues like that I think we spoke about last time. So there's a patch coming out on the 9th, thankfully. So that's the other thing that's happened, not just the Valve news, but Battlefield, they've released some patch notes for their next big I think it's their winter patch is what they're calling it, or their Christmas patch or whatever. So they're addressing the netcode, thankfully, and player visibility. And it's so crazy to see all these arguments over these things. Like especially on Reddit, the Battlefield 6 subreddit is um a special kind of, their
Cesspool.
parents love them very much, I'm sure. Um, I'll just leave it at that. They're very special people. Um, but and they're always like, "Oh, it's not a problem." Well, the developers multiple times now have acknowledged that it's a problem, and now they're finally putting a patch out to address these things in particular. Like they're calling it out in their patch notes.
Yeah.
So you can't sit there and tell me, "Oh, it's not a problem." No, it's a
Why would they
problem.
patch it? Why would they
Right.
bother?
Or even acknowledge it in the first place. And historically speaking, Battlefield devs, like especially with 2042, did not like there was like like the communication was basically non-existent, especially towards like the middle end of 2042's life cycle. Like it
Good
was just
idea, badly executed. I really liked the idea. I
yeah.
almost went to buy it, and then I saw mixed reviews. Oh, shit. Again.
They well, one of the things that they were so tight-lipped about and never addressed or acknowledged even till this day is the mouse input issues in 2042. Um, and there's many theories onto why that might be. I'm particularly a fan of the theory that they just didn't know how to fix it. I think that's what it came down to. And the people that did know how to fix it were already working on Battlefield 6. And by the time that they would have been available to fix it, Battlefield 6 is already out. 2042 is essentially retired. Like nobody cares about it anymore. Battlefield 6 is the main thing. So we're just not even going to address it anymore. Like it's not even worth,
I get it,
you
but
know.
I would have like the idea, and I say the story. I don't know what the story is, but for someone like me who's kind of outside to it, coming off the back of Cyberpunk, and then seeing 2042, you're like, oh wow, like I bet that's like a bit like Halo Reach, but it's sort of futuristic, not too far. I thought, well, that would be interesting, and then just saw that it was a total letdown, and I was like, well, that's a shame because I did like the idea very much so, and I think there's quite a lot of demand out there for futuristic game, cyberpunk-esque, Blade Runner-esque. I do. Whether that's a reflection of current events in the world, no. And semi-dystopian, really, but they fumbled it, and they were like, oh well, okay, well, moving on to the next title now, and that's going to be really good. Um, and it is a shame. I don't. But what went wrong in their development cycle where it ended up being released at that point? That's my question. How do you get there?
I mean, yeah, like I mean, I could easily ask the same question about like the visibility. Like the visibility issues in Battlefield 6 were so bad and so blatant. There's no way they didn't know about it. And maybe they just pushed it out thinking like, oh, people won't care that much. But there's no way they didn't know it. There's just no way they didn't know that in their game testing and all that. Like these dark, punchy interiors where there's like no transition between indoors, outdoors. And if you're going from indoors to outdoors, you get flash banged. And if you're going from outdoors to indoors, you're staring into a black void. Like, um,
That lighting related then? I'm not say
directly,
gloom,
yeah.
but yeah, so
Yeah, no,
like
it's lighting, and they've even acknowledged that. Because the first pass, which it did improve it, it's still not great. And actually on my Twitter page, I made a post about it a couple days ago, how particularly shit it is. Um, excuse me. But it is lighting related, and they acknowledge that directly. And the last major patch, or the first major patch for Battlefield, they kind of cleaned it up a little bit. But this one, I'm hoping like they really clean it up. And they acknowledged, like to your point about the lighting, they acknowledged that part of the problem was that HDR wasn't functioning correctly. Like basically in an SDR environment, HDR was like always on or something like that.
love
I
the
forget
ringtone.
what the exact
Sorry.
what they exactly said, but um, basically HDR was broken in an SDR environment. Um,
In fact, Nirvana
and that's what
says
was.
a good point here. Sorry to interject. So
No, no, go ahead.
the big problem I have with modern FPS is it's the same few companies chasing the genre: military shooters, battle royales, looter shooters. Um,
Yep.
it's it's like I was only thinking of Battlefield 6. Yeah, I might give it a go so I could, we could play and because you were playing it, and I thought like, hey, like they're actually, like I like something to focus on. So I thought, well, that could be good. But I think if it wasn't for you playing it or us discussing it, I would not have an interest category. Um, that really. But I'll let you
I
take it
drive
away.
interest.
Yeah, you drive
Um,
the interest. Yeah.
no, I'm not that conceited. But yeah, I mean, so late '90s, early to mid 2000s, right? You had a lot of game companies copying the successful things of the time, right? We've already talked about it: Quake, Doom, Half Life, all these things. The difference is there was a point in time where they would take the ideas of these things that were wildly successful and just fundamentally good, like well designed, and they would use those things to try to create their own thing with it, right? um, Something I point out in this comparison is the original BioShock actually has, and there's even videos out there breaking this down, a lot in common with Half-Life 2, believe it or not. Like the way the story's presented, some of the optics, the mechanics. But I never realized it until you really take a step back and look at the two, because BioShock was so unique. It did kind of, in a way, it's still not even in a way, it does still provide its own experience. You've got games like Prey, both 2016 and 2017, or not 2016, 2007 and 2017. Um, so for those that don't know, there's two Prey games. I have no idea why the latter one still named itself Prey, because that makes things infinitely confusing.
Fear
But they were
looks
both good.
good.
Um,
Or you play that. That looks pretty.
Fear, yeah, Fear. Oh my God, Fear is goated. One of my all-time favorites. Absolutely goated. Um, and now instead of taking excuse me, good, like principles that are fundamentally good or successful and trying to develop their own thing with it, now game companies just straight up copying pasting things. Like every extraction shooter is just, some of them are even just, like, I would argue, reskinned Escape from Tarkov's. Like everybody wants to be the next battle royale. Like it's just the same stuff with a different coat of paint and like maybe a few tweaks here and there,
What
but
is
it's
what is a
fundamentally the same.
what's a looter shoot?
A looter shooter is like Escape from Tarkov is a looter shooter. Um Games like that. Basically games that dump you into arena that could be PvE, PvP, or both. where the whole goal is to loot things, and then extract, looter shooter slash extraction shooter. To be fair, there is some overlap between the two, but basically, looter shooters, the whole idea is to loot things, and then in the case of like things like Escape from Tarkov, extraction shooters is you loot everything and then you try to escape with it, because if you die, you permanently lose anything that you found during that session. So they're looter shooter, like I suppose you could argue that you could use the term looter shooter and extraction shooter somewhat interchangeably. I call them inventory simulators, because anytime at any of these games, if you go onto Twitch or YouTube or wherever and you click on a stream, like 8 times out of 10, I click on a stream and they're sitting in the inventory menu, and they're just there for like 20 minutes. It's like, so I call them inventory simulators, because that's what they are. They're like 40% gameplay, and the rest is just inventory. It's just inventories on the screen. I don't know how to me, that's not fun. It's never been fun. I don't understand that. I mean, to each their own, I suppose. But more to the point is, yeah, just like most modern games these days are just, if anybody does something different, their idea of doing something different is like extraction shooter, but with abilities. Like, man, it's just so stupid. I'm like, no,
but in a different location.
Yeah, different location. This one's in the future, And you got Arc Raiders. Like, I mean, look, Arc Raiders does look like one of the better extraction / looter shooters. I'll give it that. At the same time, the formula is still the same. The core of the game is still the same. The concepts are still the same, and I'm just not interested in it. I just don't care.
I think on the battle royales point, they chase that, and this might not be groundbreaking. You'll be like, well, that's fucking that. So many kids play it and spend their parents' money cards on those games, and they're like, this is insane. This is a money maker. Let's just target them, and until that stops, we're just gonna keep getting those battle royales. Like Fortnite is still going strong. Like,
I know. Yeah, I mean, and you're not wrong, I mean, there have been legitimate cases, like legitimate incidents that have gone to court because of
their kids buying shit, and they're like, well, it wasn't me.
Kids buying shit, with their parents' credit card.
Yeah, I saw one recently that was like that, and they, I can't remember what the result was, but I remember my opinion. But obviously she wants all charges cancelled. So I'm gonna have to look at how that was resolved, actually. But yeah, I mean, gotta watch out for your kids doing that, right? Like before they rack up thousands of dollars. Kyla says the battle royale and looter shoot getting kind of played out, to me at least. I know they're much loved.
Agreed.
Nirvana says, honestly, Battlefield 6 paring things back is a good sign for them, since they've been making stinker after stinker Battlefield.
Yeah. Battlefield 22, in my opinion, was objectively one of the worst Battlefields. Next to Battlefield Vietnam, a lot of people, and this is how I know. I'm like, I know if you're an OG Battlefield player or not, because when people are like, oh, playing back in the day, and they'll start talking about all these Battlefield titles, I'm like, tell me what your opinions on Battlefield Vietnam were. And they're like,
I didn't know.
Like, you are not a true OG Battlefield player.
Well, in fact, Kyla's just said, man, I loved 1942 and Vietnam.
Yeah, but most people forget about Battlefield Vietnam. So the order of operations, we had 1942. Then we had, so actually there was a mod for 1942 called Desert Combat that was so incredibly popular that basically was the reason for Battlefield 2 existing. Because at some point they're like, let's just take this and actually make it its own game. And basically what Desert Combat did is it just It was basically a reskinned 1942. It added like modern weapons and tanks and planes into the game. And it was good. I played both. I played 1942. I played Desert Combat. I played the shit out of DC Desert Combat. That is.
Yeah, Kyler says he's poured way too much of his life into Desert Combat.
Then you had Battlefield Vietnam, Battlefield 2, Battlefield 2142. And Battlefield 2 and 2142 I loved both of those. They were great. Played the hell out of Titan mode.
I take
Titan
back
mode was awesome.
everything I said about 2042. What the fuck? There was a 2142. Like, this is my problem.
Yeah, that was so the reason for 2042 existing is that was 2042. If I remember what the devs claimed the lore was, is that was like the precursor to 2142, because 2142 was actually the first, like, as far as this genre of games, like the first like futuristic shooter that existed outside of the original PlanetSide. So it was like everything about it was futuristic, like guns and tanks and things that obviously do not exist in real life. Like, it was very sci-fi. And they had these things. There was this one mode that I loved, I just mentioned, called Titan mode, where you had these huge like ships called Titans, and the idea was you still had to capture points on the map. But then I think if I remember correctly, it was after a certain number of, if your team controlled a certain number of points or whatever, it dropped the shields to the Titans, and then you could board the Titan and overload and destroy the engines of the Titan, and which would basically blow up the whole Titan, and your team would win. So you could either win by blowing up the enemy team's Titan, or win by controlling the most points and still exhausting the other team of their tickets before they exhausted your team of yours. But yeah, 2142 was awesome. They had these they had some crazy shit in 2042. I loved it. Or 2142.
I was like,
yeah, sorry, 2142. So anyway, 1942, Desert Combat, Vietnam, Battlefield 2, 2142, and then after that it was about Bad Company. Like, they basically did this pivot. There was Battlefield Bad Company and Bad Company 2, and then all the other Battlefields, which is confusing as shit, right? Because you've got Battlefield, excuse me, you've got Battlefield 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2042, Battlefield 6. Like, people say Valve doesn't know how to count. Fucking EA doesn't know how to count. Okay, I don't like. So yeah, that was a whole thing. But yeah, I played personally. I played all of the early Battlefields. I played Bad Company. I think I played a little bit of Bad Company 2. And the last time I tried to touch Battlefield before Battlefield 6 was 2042. And the game was so horrendous. I did with 2042 what I did with Stalker 2, only I wasn't streaming when I did it, where after playing it for like 45 minutes to an hour, I was like, and refund. Like, I immediately refunded the game on Steam. I was like, this is shit. It feels awful. The mouse input feels and I thought it was just like some wonky whatever, when it was later revealed, like, no, the game actually had mouse input issues. And I just never played a Battlefield title until Battlefield 6.
Yes, he refunded Stalker 2 as well. Yes.
I refunded that I think the VOD is gone now. Maybe, I don't know, on my YouTube channel. But yeah, that one I did live because I was so ready. I was like, man, fucking, I love Stalker. I was like, I was waiting. Like, the morning Stalker came out, I downloaded it, and like I did an early stream. I started streaming it. I booted up the game and played it for like, oh gosh, maybe 15 to 20 minutes. And I'm like, this is fucking terrible. It was so stuttery, so jittery, gimmicky. A-Life was broken. The AI was clearly broken. It did not feel like a Stalker game. And I refunded it on stream and then went and made a whole YouTube video about it, which the video I made is still available on my YouTube channel. I think I called it Stalker 2 Sucks or something like that. But like, holy shit, refunded it live on stream. Haven't looked back. That franchise is dead to me now. the original Stalker, Shadow Chernobyl, Call of Pripyat, and oh crap, what was the other one? There was one in between that. There was Shadow Chernobyl, Call of Pripyat. What was the other one? I don't remember what the other one was. I can't. My brain's like shut off. But anyway, yeah, played the original 3, loved them. Everything after that, Stalker's dead to me. And then there, of course, people like, oh, you only played for 20 minutes. I'm like, no, that's all I needed to make that determine. Like, the game was just so objectively broken and unplayable. I didn't need to play the game for 2 hours to like.
To
It was
decide.
very clear that there were issues.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have a question. Do you ever play much of Quake 3? Because I fucking loved Quake.
Yes. Oh yes.
That was great. Still now, multiplayer on it is based. It can be, I don't know, with servers and connectivity, maybe a little janky. I did get into Quake Live for a good while, and that's where
It's Quake 3 is still playable. You can play it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, that's not. In fact, I did do a nice bit of F2A they call it, free for all, FFA maybe, on some of
yeah, free for all FFA.
on their traditional space maps. That like I've forgotten the actual
Yeah.
map titles.
Oh
Fucking
god,
insane.
yeah, the fucking longest yard and all the
That's
longest
it. Oh
yard
my god, the
clones.
longest
Oh
yard.
Jesus.
Oh man, that was great fun.
The
All the
longest yard.
CTF maps. Oh my, that was so fun. That was
One of my favorite Quake 3 Arena / Quake Live custom maps, and I haven't seen any servers run it recently. I still play Quake Live. Is somebody did a copy paste of 2 Fort in Quake, which really is it really copy paste?
Yeah, because it was originally in Quake engine.
Exactly. Well, no, Team Fortress was originally a Quake mod before it was a standalone game.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry,
So
that's what I meant.
Team Fortress was a Quake mod, then it became Team Fortress Classic, then Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. They did work on before Team Fortress 2, so in the development phase of Team Fortress Classic and Team Fortress 2, apparently there is a lost version out there called Team Fortress 2 Brotherhood of Arms, which
I've heard about that.
Yeah. So again, this is a Tyler McVickler scoop. But they couldn't find it. But there is a build out there.
That's
We've
what
seen
HLX is.
Yeah. Oh my god! I'll put that theory too. What if it is just yeah? But yeah, and we saw some screenshots, and it is more military. Like, it is a lot more. I suppose Team Fortress Classic was, but it is as it sounds, like a lot more kind of a firm command structure. You were meant to have a role where someone was like the officer overseeing it and would tell people to go in certain directions. And already, like, you can think, it sounds like it's not really going to work, and you can see why they scrapped it. But there's a lost version out there somewhere. I would be super keen to. That was
what I love most. What I love most about Team Fortress is they really made the class system work. Every class, at least in TF2, or well, when TF2 first came out before it went free to play, this was also true. But now it's kind of like, but classes actually mattered and had a purpose. Whereas like nowadays there are games like Battlefield 6 that have classes that are either poorly balanced or just don't matter. Like they're just not useful. Like for example, in Battlefield 6, it's just because it's kind of the thing that I've been playing, that I'm playing now. But I firmly believe if EA in the next patch just outright ripped out and removed the assault class, the game wouldn't play really any differently. Why? Because it just functionally has no purpose. Why would you play assault class when support class is so strong? Recon does have a purpose. Engineer does have a purpose. And support does have a purpose. Assault is just there, like, and it sucks. Like, there's just they could rip it out. The game would play. Actually, it would probably be better. Actually, it's so irrelevant. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah, no,
I
that's
saw something. What was it? Lady Miss Dragon. In what universe can you go from nothing to 360 to one to series? I don't care what it's called anymore. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Microsoft can't count it. There, so many of these corporations. It's like they miss their calling as a monitor manufacturer. You know, like monitor names, SKU names don't make any fucking sense. Like ASUS PG8N27 PDQ-WXTR-Y. What's the difference between that and the PG whatever 27 blah blah blah? And it's like they're both 27 inches. They're both 1440p. They're both 240 hertz. They're both oh, one has a different one has one extra HDMI port. It's like it just oh my god. Monitor names just they break me. I just
Yeah, we were having this
it's insane.
discussion earlier, like the Xbox have one crappy, and I don't even know what series it is. And I remember I bought it off someone. They're like, oh, I barely use. And then I realized that I got Doom Eternal, and then realized that I could only stream Doom Eternal on it. I could not download it and
Oh
play
no.
it. And I thought, oh my god! And obviously, it was like £70 to buy it outright. And I thought, I don't want to spend that money on a game I'm not going to be 100% sure about. Now, I am going to give Dark Ages as whatever. Like, I love Doom, and I thoroughly enjoyed 20.
Oh, let's
Eternal
talk
was
Doom.
okay. Okay, yeah, but I mean, but the mod 2016 was amazing. I enjoyed it so much. Eternal, too many jumping puzzles, but still good fun. Still enjoy
There
the
were a
rip and
lot,
tear.
yeah.
Yeah. But I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. But yeah, they and it turned out on that model Xbox Series, I don't know, and it was like, yeah, you can't download it on Game Pass, but you can. Like, great, okay, fantastic. Can't play that then because it's playable. And that sucks. Like, I didn't even know. Like, you wouldn't know until you bought the console that there was that differentiation. I learned the hard way.
Yeah, I think like for me personally, right? This is just Fox opinion. This isn't like objective, like, how Stalker 2 is just objectively broken. This is like Doom 2016 is, in my opinion, the only modern Doom game that feels like a Doom game, and that it's gritty, it's in the UAC,
Yes,
it's
that's true.
just it has that grittiness to it that Doom games have. Whereas I love Eternal. I love, and in fact, Rosie, I think when you first started watching my channel, I was still grinding some Doom Eternal runs uh
But it's more
and challenges.
fantasy, dark fantasy, isn't it? It's
Yeah, and
more,
so Doom Eternal, yeah, they went more to fantasy, and
yeah.
then Dark Ages, they really went into the fantasy thing with it. Um, but I loved Eternal though. I do genuinely love Eternal. I love the mechanics because mechanically, like there is a skill gap in that game, and I love games with skill gaps because it gives you something to work towards. In my opinion,
Yeah,
you can
that's
do
true.
better.
Yeah.
Um, and so with that said, here's my schlock take. Um, I feel about Doom the Dark Ages the way other people feel about Doom 3. I'm just going to leave it there.
But you don't, right, okay, but I'm going to say, apart from the BFG edition, you don't mind Doom 3. In fact,
I like Doom 3.
you have streamed Doom 3. I think
I
Doom
do.
3, we have discussed it offline, but Doom 3 got a bad rap. Now, it was too dark, and was it more of a survival horror? Yes, but I think the engine and the technology was quite overshadowed and almost like ignored because Half-Life 2 had just, whether it had just come
Well,
out or been announced at E3, but I don't know, it didn't get it got a big hammering, even though it was pretty. I thought the tech and the graphics were.
I mean, I would say I do agree that Doom 3 went more like they were definitely trying to go more the darker, like gritty horror route, but I'm not sure that I would call it like the horror survival or anything, because I've heard people say that too, like survival. I'm like, survival, where are you getting that from? Like,
Uh,
by the end of the game, you're a one-man tank with a rocket launcher, a plasma rifle, all these guns, max ammo, explosives. I'm like, survival, the horror survival games, part of what makes them horror survival is that you barely have anything to work with. Like,
that's true. More crafting stuff like that.
Doom Marine is like this. He's just like a walking fucking super tank by the end. Like, I don't know where the survival is on that one, but hey, whatever.
Bandita says, thanks for this take. 2016 is my favorite of the new ones. Lady Miss says, 2016, I'm guessing, seemed to agree it's closest to old. Bandita says, I don't want to play the Dark Ages. Eternal was okay, but not that good for me. And Lady Miss says, although I think Doom Eternal might still be the most popular, which doesn't mean best, of course, but you know what I mean. That's true. It had a good launch.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with Lady Miss Dragon on that one. Yeah, for sure. And I do think it is still. I think now that Dark Ages has died down, that like that Eternal is still the more out of the two. Eternal is still the more popular one. And honestly, my favorite thing, like if I fire up Doom Eternal, I'm firing up the Ancient Gods Part 2. I'm not playing the base game. I'm not playing Tag 1. I'm playing Tag 2.
I haven't played
because
that.
Tag 2 is so much fucking fun, and the Sentinel Hammer is goated. I love the Sentinel. Like,
I should resume. I've not finished Eternal.
Oh man,
either.
It's just goated.
Forgot it had expansions. I've not even finished Eternal. I think I got stuck on another. No, the PC I had before crapped out.
More Rosie streams, right? Doom Eternal. She's got a new PC.
Yeah, you're right. I need to get my act together with fucking.
Let's go, Rosie. We're waiting.
Yeah, we're waiting. I don't know what it is. I say I should, and then I'm like, oh, I'm tired now. I'm gonna have a cup of tea. Oh, and some bullshit excuse. Like I do make excuses. I don't know what happened for me, for my mind to.
That is the most British thing I've ever heard. I'm gonna have a cup of tea.
Yeah, and then I have a cup of tea, and then I'm like, I'm just gonna chill out and read, and then I end up stressing myself out over the process. So, like, clearly, it's not a positive me doing that. So, yeah, I should.
Okay, two questions. This has nothing to do with gaming. One, what is the correct way to make British tea? And two, do you put milk in your tea? Are you one of those?
Okay, so two, yes. Now, one, don't put the milk in first. Get the tea bag. Now, you don't go for any.
Use bag tea. Okay, all right. Now I'm listening.
Yeah. Now, Walmart will do, and I tried to be clever, cheap and cheerful black tea bags, right? I got them and realized, shit, and I had to use 3 to get the strength that I like it anyway. Putting the false economy.
That is the most British thing ever.
Yeah, false economy. Okay, I thought I was being economic. So then I've stepped up and bought HEB English breakfast tea bags, which are a lot better. So you get an English breakfast. Okay, that's the only real one that we're dealing with here. Okay, it's like you and a real tea drinker. Battlefield Vietnam. Like, it's the same thing. So English breakfast. Gotcha. Put that, and you add hot water. Boil it in the kettle. I haven't met many Americans who have.
I do.
Okay, you have a kettle. Good.
Yeah,
okay.
we have a kettle because we're very bougie. When I say we, I'm of course referring to myself in this talk, but we're very bougie coffee drinkers, and we use a French press. So we have a kettle to boil the water for the French press.
Oh my god! It's just another layer.
We grind our own. We have our own bean grinder. We source our beans very selected. Like, no, when I tell you that we're coffee snobs, we're fucking coffee snobs. I'm not like
I used to be when I could in England at work. They had a really good selection. I got into it, and now I've even got Julian into it. He used to drink like iced coffee. He only knew the sugary stuff, and then he goes, I don't like hot drinks, but I started buying coffee that was reasonably priced but smelled amazing. Like, smell this, and he was really good. I'd have a cup of that. So I'm getting him into trying different types of coffee, but that is kudos to you, like a your own bean grinder. The only time I've seen that was actually my ex-boyfriend, and that was quite cool. But they made 2.
We even have our own dedicated coffee bar.
How big is the bar? Is it like an end table that you put the coffee machine on?
No. It's like a dedicated, like I don't know what I'd compare it to, like an armoire. Like it's like a big, tall, dedicated. So it's got like cupboards in it. It's got the platform for all the stuff. But yeah, no, it's the real deal. So
the tea. Well, so you leave the tea bag to. Because you want that dark color. I like mine very
You gotta
strong.
let it steep. How long do you steep yours for?
Yeah, good up to 3 minutes, really.
Three minutes. Okay.
I go off color, and then I add milk. But I like it strong. I leave the tea bag in fact, because I like it strong. I used to even have in England the strongest you could get was Yorkshire Gold, and I that, but the tannin in it is so like it leaves like a film in your mouth, like similar because wine has tannin
There's
in it.
so many jokes I could be making right now. I'm being so nice.
Why? Because
Keep
of
going.
what? Because of how
I
British you
just no, no,
speak
no.
to you for
Keep going. Keep
69
going.
minutes.
Listen. Later on, if somebody clips you out of context and all it is a clip of you saying "I like it strong," just
Oh my no, but it's true. But when British people talk about
Jesus.
tea, and there's this woman that I volunteer with, is super too, and she's always saying like, "That's not how we like our tea," and I'm like, "Yeah, exactly." But no, Americans find it so weird. They're like, "You add milk to it," and I'm like, it's. I love it. I love it. So
Steep for 69 minutes.
yeah, that's what exactly, Captain. Um,
So the black English tea. Are you now? Are you talking about the black English tea, like the brand, or
no, the type,
just any
type,
brand that makes a black English tea?
any brand. They'll call it English tea, but you know, and it's black before you add milk. Now, Earl Grey can have it without milk and just lemon, but I personally have it with Lady Grey. I'm partial to. Um,
Oh, good to know. So next time somebody tells me, "Oh, that's not real English tea," I'm going to tell them, "No, you're wrong. It is," and I'll refer to you.
there's a reason that Captain Picard
Yeah.
very British, even though I guess arguably you see the point.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I have a cup of tea, I'm like, oh, relaxing, and then I end up not. Oh, Grey is the only exactly.
See, Rosie, I think it's time for Doom and Tea. Like that there's your stream session right there. Doom and or tea time with Doom.
You are
Doom
right.
Eternal.
I don't know why I can't seem to do it. Like even when I was working insanely, I looked for streaming because I enjoyed it, and I don't know why now. It's like I get really tired super. I'm like, oh, I'm not having fun anymore. I don't know why. I don't know why. So that stick to our
You got to
podcast.
get reinvigorated.
Yeah, I think part of it is I've stopped enjoying Doom as much, and that's not a Doom. Like there's still endless wads up, right? And as you said, like, well, there's Doom Eternal. Go do that. This, go do that. The problem's me. Like it's a me problem. I think I've struggled to enjoy games as much because of everything. But that's an excuse. Like I should be stronger because the more I give it that, then that's kind of on me. So I should stream more, is what we're all saying.
Just so anybody who's watching now or watches this later is aware, I say this all the time. Like Rosie streams win. Like, do I not?
Oh man, I remember I had 1 week off of work in 2022. I think it was 2022. I think it was, and I streamed for a week, and it was crazy. Like it really well. It kind of blew up, and people, well, if you keep your partner, and well, I'm off back to work, so that's the end of that. It was crazy. Yeah,
Oh.
I did have good momentum for a while, and then now I'm like,
And I think that's
ah.
when I found you because I was
No, you were one of the
I
first ones actually. Because I look back on
was
one of
I?
my old VODs, yeah, and I went out the night before, and you were like, "How's the hangover?" And that was when Nirvana was in the chat as well. Like that was early
Yeah, I
on.
remember that. Yeah, because I think you were in the Doom section because usually you'd stream in the retro section, which is a bit saturated. But you'd, I think on that day in particular, the one when I found you, you were in the Doom section. I was like, oh, and I was like, oh, this is entertaining. All right, like,
And in fact, Captain Pilcast just mentioned that he Captain Pilcast had a long hiatus, but he's hosting. He said Doomsember, Doomsember again this year on the 13th. Loved Captain Pilcast. So December again, like I used to participate in that and save trade, and now good. I think it's about to do this, and for some reason I kind of got all like praised about not sticking to a schedule. Like I don't know why. I just have to stick into a schedule, but doing these podcasts kind of helped because I'm like, well, no excuses. And then you get into it and you're like, yeah, yeah. That's when Rosie drank during every stream. I used to have a beer on stream. I
A
was a
beer.
wild child.
Ooh.
Yeah, a whole beer. Yeah. No, I used to. Crazy. I look back at those. Oh my God, I was so young. I look so old now. You know, I should. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. I should just, but you know,
Yeah, do something you haven't done, like, finishing Eternal or something like that, and, you know, or just something you think you would genuinely enjoy. I
I
mean,
think,
because that's the thing is, like, I kinda went through a time where I certainly became less consistent with streaming, um, and just because I was like, "Eh," I just wasn't
yeah,
feeling it, but
yeah,
I kinda, like, I don't wanna say found my passion for it again, but, like, I enjoy it again, like, as a hobby, because obviously I'm not, like, some major. I mean, I have, like, what, 4 or 5 people on a good day. Like, it's definitely just a hobby, but I'm enjoying it again as
yeah,
just as a hobby, something fun. I'm playing a game, turn on OBS, like, I'm there anyway. So,
yeah.
yeah.
No, that's a good point. But yeah, you were on. I think you were one of my first followers actually. There was Nirvana. But I got into Doom mods. I chose because I just discovered the whole Doom modding community, and then Lady Miss Dragon was part of the Shovelware Society on Doom World, and actually was on Doom World before I started streaming. Because a few people were like, "Oh, you should stream it." And then the Shovelware Society was like, as it sounds, like all of these pretty
Shovelware.
yeah, pretty crappy wads that were included on CDs and magazines maybe, and a lot of them weren't great quality, but each week the club would, or each month maybe, would play a different shovelware wad, and I would stream playing that, but some of them were awful, so it was really hard to kind of stream through that, and you think, oh my god, this map is painful, it's long, it's difficult, and yeah, I there was some fantastic wads out there. So you always have an endless supply of creative endeavors to stream on a very good engine. I think that's why Rosie was originally going to make maps. Yeah, I did start doom mapping, and
Oh, you did? I didn't actually. I don't think I knew that.
no, I did, and I made, and the draft is still on my own computer, and I started doing like a futuristic kind of thing wad. I went, I got really good textures, and aesthetically it was looking good, but I really struggled with level design. I could not picture in my head, like, okay, where does the player go from here? I could do the artwork side of it. I could not do the level design part of it at all. Big blank slate. So I was like, well, I either need to collaborate with someone, or this is not going to be very good. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could see, like, it takes a certain type of creativity, I think, for doing things like level design, because I couldn't. I know I know what makes good level design and what makes bad level design, but I also know that if I were to do level design, I would suck at it. So,
That
take that for
surprises
what you
me.
will, I guess.
I would have thought you'd be good at like building out the blocks of it and being like, so go here, weapon pick up here, enemy here, move on to like
I Yeah, I would be more of like the after the fact guy. I would be the one
quality
who,
assurance.
yeah, like, like when they're done, like, then I get my hands on it and go, all right, here's all the shit you need to fix. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of where, like, somebody like me would come in, because, like I said, I know what makes good and bad level design. I have a general understanding of what makes good and bad game pacing and flow. Um, but I wouldn't necessarily be the one to build that out, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, I guess it's where your skill set lies. But
Yeah.
there's ones, Nirvana, who was, I don't know if you're still there, but he's made some Fractured Worlds was a map, I guess a megawatt, maybe it was, but that was kick ass. Level design was great. The aesthetic was fantastic. Loved it. So yeah, like a few have stuck out for me, but I should definitely like, and it was so good, like it was so easy for content. Go into the Doom forum and be like, right, now we're going to play this. So, no excuses. There's no excuse, like, do it again. But it's amazing to see the Doom community still very much alive and kicking. And it's very easy to
Yeah, it
make your own
is.
map. Yeah. Like you just download Ultimate Doom Builder, you load it up, and it's super easy to start making your own maps. It's not like it was with the old editors back in the day. I can't remember what they were called, but it was very laborious. But yeah, now it's very easy. Kind of draw, and then it generates it for you, and you playtest it. Fantastic. Um, Shame that can't be said for modern games. There we go. Um,
I mean, yeah, and that's kind of what keeps a lot of these stuffs going. A lot of these things going is the mod. Like, say, like there are people still making Half-Life mods, like OG Half-Life mods, and
yes.
stuff in like Steam Workshop and all that. That I mean, modding can very much breathe new life back into things, but like things like, again, like with Doom, and again, even Doom Eternal. It's not my favorite Doom, but I do like it. I like it a lot better than Dark Ages. But it's just, I like things, single or multiplayer, that have a skill gap, that allow you to, you can still play it,
Mm.
but there's so much room to grow as a player. That I love that in games. And it's really interesting. Excuse me. I'm fighting allergies over here. It's really interesting to me that, like, one of the worst things, I think, in modern, actually, I think I even had this on my Twitter page. Let me go. Hold on. Let me see if I can. I don't even know, because this was like a while ago. But basically, it was a game. Oh, here it is. Fallout co-creator Tim Kaine says today's
Ah,
games suffer from trying to be everything for everyone,
I think we mentioned that last
and
time. Yeah, that's
yeah, maybe we did, but yeah, when games are trying to be everything for everyone, and they're trying to make it accessible for everyone, um, one, they kind of end up doing the reverse of that, and two, it's just a miserable experience. It's like it just makes it equally miserable for everyone. And the interesting thing there is that these games that did have these skill gaps, I argue, are more accessible to everyone than a lot of modern game design, because they were built in a way where if you had barely any skill at all, you could still play the game and you develop that skill as you played. But then there was still plenty of room to start mastering that skill that you learned, right? And that's, in the early days, that's how bunny hopping started. And these types of things is like, there was a skill that you learned. And then if you wanted to, or you chose to, you could then master that skill.
Do you ever
Movement.
watch Diary of a Camper? Quake Machine?
I don't think I did. That doesn't sound
Sorry to
familiar.
interject. It
I
was
don't
like
I
the
don't believe it. No,
first.
yeah, no,
It was
I
the
don't think I
first
ever did.
piece of machinima, and it was, you know, like it was really early on. Like I think it was 99 or something. Considered it the first. And it is just as it sounds, like filming a staged multiplayer deathmatch in Quake. But no, that's just what
Interesting.
came to mind. I would have thought that you.
Yeah, you're gonna have to send that to me. I didn't know. I don't think I have watched that at all.
But I suppose equally with when you get bunny hopping, you also then get fucking camping. Oh, camping was such an issue back in the day. Still is.
It could be. I mean, again, it's one of those things that, like, if you learned how to deal with it, not so much. Because actually, there was some, like, I remember in Counter Strike, particularly in Counter Strike Source, Counter Strike 1.6, not so much, because that player base during a certain time was way more based than the CS Source player
That's
base.
true.
Um, but one of the things people, because in every Counter Strike, what is the one weapon that people bitch, whine, and cry about the most? The op. And especially back in those times, and especially in Source, because in Half-Life, I'd kind of started, like, in the very early days of Half-Life, I'd kind of started speed running it a little bit. And I learned, even in Counter-Strike Source, how to bunny hop very well in the Source engine. And I got so good that I'm like, guys, you can learn to juke an opper. Like, if I'm, for example, if I'm playing long A on Dust 2, and I know there's somebody sitting in pit and I'm coming out of CT spawn, like, I could basically do like what's it called? A circle jump
Mm.
to like flash my player model around the corner on their screen, get them to shoot, and then I could re-peek the corner and kill them or flash them or do whatever, like or smoke it off. Like it 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 allowed you to develop, and again, this goes back to what I was saying earlier. You could develop skill and learn how to deal with these things as a player. And that's just one example. And actually here, I don't know if you'll be able to put this up, but I want to send something to you because this actually fits in perfectly with the current topic. Um,
Is this the? I think it's the video.
it's a clip. It's from BF6, but
Oh.
I don't know if you'll be able to bring that up. Because and you chose my slowest speed run of all that you have in the background, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm just gonna give you crap about it. But yeah, I don't know if you can put that up what I just sent you, but this is a great exercise actually to take a look at this.
Why? Oh, okay. One sec.
Make it so that disable. Okay. Oh my God, I knew somebody would bring this up. Okay, hold on. Holy shit. Okay. When we talk about game accessibility, we're not talking because everybody. This is oh my God. This is
Take
like
a breaststroke.
this is like when people. This is like the example of like I tell somebody I like hamburgers and they go, oh, well, then you hate pizza. Like, fuck no. Okay. When I'm talking about game accessibility, I'm not talking about making accessible for disabled people. Okay. Those accessibility options already exist in games and have for some time. You've got colorblind modes and all these other types of things. And now with modern technology, you've got, new types of interfaces where like there's some dude on Twitch, I think he's a quadriplegic and he's able to play games because like he has like, I don't know what it's called, but modern technology, the equipment, this thing that he moves like with his tongue in his mouth, and he's able to like play games effectively with this technology. Like between technology and these other things in games, they're already accessible in that way. I hate it when people bring that up as a counter argument. Well, but disabled people, that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here are skill gaps. And when you make a game and you make a game with basically zero skill gap so that the guy who thinks he should be an esports pro or wants to feel like an esports pro without putting in the time or effort to get to that level can do almost as well as somebody who's actually skilled and talented in the game. That's what we mean by closing the skill gap. You have somebody who's a complete, just a terrible player, and they're playing almost as well on paper as the actual talented players are playing. That is a problem, and that lets you know that your game has like basically no skill gap at all. Because if it did have a skill gap, that scenario wouldn't happen. And actually, and again, so this clip.
Yeah, what are we
Clip
looking
on
at here?
stream. So the title of this clip is "I Got Call of Dutied," and this goes into the whole Battlefield 6 too much like Call of Duty. No, you're stupid. So this clip we're looking at is, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You've got somebody who's posted up. Some guy comes out of a corner. And kills him, right? So in a vacuum here, I want to ask you, Rosie, and maybe somebody in chat, who do you think should have won this fight?
One sec.
Gunfight.
I'm okay. Okay, I'm gonna watch it one more time. Oh man, this is hard. See, okay, so I'll go through this. Right, at the start, he's ready, he's preparing, he shoots him, and then the guy kind of bounces and almost like he comes back to life. Like that first shot from the sniper who's like in a good position, he's expecting someone there, he shoots him. I would have thought that the other guy would die pretty instantaneously from being shot like that. But it wasn't a headshot, but it was like an upper chest shot. And then, okay, so that's my take then. And then afterwards, the guy bounces on the ground, he bunny hops. Let me watch it one more time.
Yeah, he does a crouch slide.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Which is a legitimate mechanic in the game, by the way.
Yeah. So now I'm thinking, well, actually, I would have thought he died at the start. But now, actually, he seems to be able to maneuver, and then he jumps out of it and then runs off. But I don't know. You see, at first, he's like, oh yeah, he should have died because he got shot at with a sniper rifle. But then the sniper didn't aim for his head; it was an upper chest shot, and he seemed to do quite a good jump out of it. So I don't know. I feel like you're going to say to me the right answer is the guy who did the jump managed to get out of it.
Well, so here's the thing, and so this is one of the, and again, this perfectly illustrates the skill gap issue, um, because there's layers to this. Okay, so I'll start out with this. In the clip, in just what we're looking at there, just the clip for itself, the guy that wins the gunfight is just objectively, in this scenario, the better player. Now, the reason that it's important to know this is because when we're talking about skill gap, if you notice at the end, when in the bottom right-hand corner, when it pops up the person that killed him and the gun and all that, there's a line right above it. That line is his HP. That guy won that gunfight with somewhere between 3 and like 5 HP.
So he nearly.
He should have won that gunfight. And this, based on what we're seeing from this perspective, he should have won that gunfight with far more HP than he did. So that's one. The guy that crouch slide, he's obviously mechanically a better player than the person from the perspective we're seeing the clip from. And by the way, that's a mouse and keyboard player. Both of them are. So no consolitis here, no auto, no rotate. And this is also kind of a great thing that illustrates why people defend aim assist so hard, is because they have no mechanical skill. And if that guy whose perspective we're seeing, if he had a controller, he would have won that gunfight, even though we can see in this clip, he's not as mechanically skilled as the guy that kills him. That is just a fact.
That's true, okay? Because he doesn't know what to do when the gunfire comes back. He's like, oh, I'm trying to keep up with you.
Tracking him momentarily.
Exactly.
Watch that crouch slide right there. Look at how he just stops tracking him. Like he does not have the mechanical dexterity or skill to track that target.
Exactly.
Or to aim where he needs to be aiming.
Yeah. That's how I would have
done it. So that's one.
I would panic.
So that's the first layer. The second layer to this is, if Battlefield had more of a skill gap, which it should, because the skill gap in Battlefield is very compressed. If it had more of a skill gap, and the guys whose perspective we're looking at here was more proficient, we'll say mechanically, more mechanically proficient, he should have won that gunfight, because right at the start of the clip, he has the drop. He has the first shot.
Yes.
If he, and even with the skill gap, like if he were just a little bit more mechanically proficient or equal to the skill of the guy that kills him, he wins that gunfight, right? So this whole thing of, oh, I got Call of Duty or that's blah, blah, blah. No, you just suck. And that's the reality. And whenever people make these arguments, like, the person that kills him is mechanically the better player in this instance. So, but again,
I originally thought this came from Lex, and I was like, oh, Lex said I got.
It was something he quoted.
Yeah. What's funny about this clip is the guy can barely aim and still almost kills the guy who's obviously a much better player. So that's true. Like I said, but I thought, oh, maybe he should have been dead, but he didn't get a headshot. Shot for his upper chest. Like, this is something I would do and panic, but I wouldn't be. I would not.
And the thing is, like,
and boast about that.
If you slow that video down or kind of go through it frame by frame, when he stops tracking, when he starts tracking him again, he gets the perspective that we see gets hit markers and damage markers when his red dot is off the other guy's body. So the other guy is still taking damage. At least that's what the game is indicating to us. He's still taking damage when his red dot is behind him. Because again, as soon as he goes into that crouch slide, he stops tracking him. We see it very clearly there. So, and again, this is why skill gap matters, because this guy, the guy that kills him, as we've established, is the better player, and he still almost died to this dude that's just sitting there drooling and stops tracking him. And then people will see this and be like, yeah, this Call of Duty movement. First of all, that's not Call of Duty movement. And anytime people put any form of movement mechanics in games nowadays, people call it Call of Duty. And it's exhausting. Just stop. Just stop. It's exhausting. Movement existed before Call of Duty. Anyway. But, this is why this clip illustrates why skill gap matters, because yeah, he won the fight, but he should have won that fight with a far larger HP pool than what he does.
Right.
And this like perfectly illustrates part of the problem. And there are still people who will see this and be like, oh yeah, that's bullshit, or he shouldn't have won that fight. And no, and then again, and this is where it comes in, making things accessible for everybody. Compressing the skill gap so much that you could be that mechanically deficient and still almost win the gunfight. If that guy had checked that corner to his left when he came around that corner, he would have died there, because the skill gap is so compressed. He would have just gotten vaporized. Like, just one slightly wrong move in that instance, and he was dead, because we see, again, he wins with 3 HP.
Yeah, he handled it very well. That's why I was like, oh, but he jumped.
And I guarantee you, knowing the visibility issues, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but knowing the visibility issues in this game, I guarantee you, just from, again, somebody who plays this game, when he slides around that corner, he doesn't reposition or try to remaneuver himself until after this guy's perspective starts shooting him, which tells me he didn't even see him when he came around that corner. And I guarantee you the visibility issues played into that. He's like, he had no idea somebody was there until that first bullet hit, and he was like, oh shit, goes into a crouch slide, scans, sees the guy, kills him.
Yeah.
And because I've done similar things myself on stream in Battlefield 6, where I don't see somebody right in front of me that I should see, because the visibility can be so terrible sometimes. And then I'll take a hit and I'm like, oh shit. And then,
but
destroy
what
them.
is visible where you're still vulnerable to being shot and killed, but you can't actually see. Like, I'm trying to imagine what this actually means. Is there something wrong in the game?
I will show you.
Okay.
I'm so glad you asked that.
I'm so glad you asked that question.
Let's see. Where is it? Why does Twitter do that? Fix your shit, Twitter. No, but for real, where is it? What the hell? It's my post. I made it. Where did it go?
Are you looking on the right? It's a bit.
It is, but am I in a fever dream? Did I think that I posted this clip and I didn't? Like, what the hell?
That can happen.
I think I'm having where is it? Oh my
in
God.
fact, I do see in the chat, Bravo needs bacon. Thank you. Nifty Nelly says, yes, there are several disabled streamers who do that, but they're very much the minority. And I did say I agree with you. Yeah, that's true. But I think that's how we've ended up. I think that's where we've ended up where we're at. I know Doom the Dark Ages did there are a lot of options that improve it for people who are, handicapped and playing the game. But I do think that there is validity in the compression in the skill gap. Like the compression of the skill gap isn't to help those players with disabilities, it's more to make everyone feel good. That's what I would say. Yeah, so and I think it's brilliant that they have all of these options, particularly Dark Ages, to increase accessibility for people who are colorblind. And that's one I'm thinking off the top of my head. There's one guy I follow called Illegally Sighted. He plays Doom, and as the name implies, has certain vision. And he makes some pretty honest commentary and opinions about it. So I think that's valid, worth listening to, absolutely. But I think in terms of what you've described, Shrock, in this moment, and as for example, like that's not for those people. That's to make, that is to narrow the skill gap, and that's not to benefit disabled players. I would say that's kind of my take on it.
So yeah, definitely. And I just sent you something else for
Ah,
your question about visibility. This will answer that question.
hopefully.
So we'll watch the clip and then show the screenshot that I put under it. So boom, I flick, I kill this guy. And in that in because the volume's not on, what I'm saying is there were two there because I see this guy, I flick, he's dead.
Oh,
And then
I don't like. How do I? I've
right when
totally messed
I
this up. I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. Oh yeah. No, you're good.
No, let me.
Things
Okay.
happen.
Okay, I'm gonna
So
replay this.
right when I start shooting, pause it.
Oh, okay.
Because I kill that guy and then
There.
sorry, the guy inside that shack.
I clipped this for you, didn't I?
I did you? I think you did.
Yes, this bit right here.
Right here. Okay, pause. So the only reason I
man.
even know that there's a guy there is because you can see his silhouette is covering up that window that's behind him. That's the only reason I know that there's an enemy there, because the visibility is so bad. You can even when it's paused, you can barely see that he's got a teammate right next to him. And that's the guy that kills me. I never saw that second guy. So when I talk about visibility, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. If I knew that there was a second guy there, I would have played this much differently and engaged in a way where I could have killed both of them. But I had no idea. I had no idea that there was anybody in there, let alone two people. I see the first guy because his silhouette covers the window there. So I'm like, okay, guy, bang, dead, and then immediately die to the guy that's next to him. So now with that said, pull up the screenshot that's under that I posted that reply.
Yeah, that's on your actual. So
It's a reply.
here you go. Here you go. I saw you post that. Okay,
Yeah. So like think about how astronomical this is. That the visibility even in this clip is so bad that when you pause the video, I had to draw a red line around the guy that kills me. Because you can't, he's right in front of me and you cannot see him. If this game had proper visibility, I would have known immediately. The second I peeked in that doorway, I would have known immediately there's two guys there and I need to re-engage them in a way where I can kill both of them. But I basically died because the visibility is so bad in the game, I was not able to get the information that I needed to to make that a proper or an engagement that went in my favor, right? And we can see, because if you go back to the clip, you can see when I'm able to see shit, I vaporize stuff. Like that guy, I'm running, my fixation, my target fixation focus is that house. But then a guy runs out from the right. I snap, I flick, kill him, flick back to the doorway. Like,
I wish I could slow motion.
Which it was the first guy I kill in the beginning of the clip. He's the one where he runs out, flick, kill. Yeah. And it was at that point that's like when you see me like shouting into my microphone, that's why I'm like, there were two. Like in real time, watching that for the first time, you're like, yeah, where was the second guy? Like, this is exactly what we're talking about.
Oh man, I just find it difficult. Like, yeah, I see. This is why I said earlier, it must be a lighting issue, because you're outside and then you move inside and you can't see. Like, what, your retina's that burned by the sun? Like, there's no
the developers even acknowledged that it was messed up because of their HDR implementation. So when you go from outside to inside, it's pitch black, like we see in that clip, and when you go from inside to outside, you get flashbanged. Like especially in this map. In darker maps, not so much, but it is still a problem.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're going to have maps which are quite fundamental, I think.
Vision is more of a, hold on, I'm Captain Peel Card. Can you explain this? Vision is more of a unique condition and isn't a good benchmark for others. Explain that, please.
Oh, I think he just means that because Captain Pilcard has vision condition. So I think he's just saying that he can't really comment on it because it's unique
Oh,
to
okay.
him. So he can't really be, that's why he's like, well, I can't really say or add anything valuable to this because mine is very, very unique. So he's kind of
Gotcha,
like,
gotcha.
I haven't got
Okay,
anything
I
to add
understand
to
now.
the discussion, basically. But yeah, yeah. Which makes it,
Yeah,
but
so
you
when
didn't
I'm
know
talking
that,
about
but
visibility issues, I'm not talking about like things like personal like like personal eye issues or colorblind or whatever the case may be that people themselves I'm talking about like objectively the lighting in this game, the developers have even acknowledged is not correct. Like, and it creates these conditions where you can have literally two people right in front of you and not even realize they're there. Like, that's a problem.
yeah. Well, no, yeah, definitely. And I'm gonna have maps like hey Vector Victor, how are you all doing? Thank you for joining us. I think with these maps, for kind of like basic or fundamental map design, where you want indoors and outdoors, you can't have this. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, not have any indoor places where you could go to avoid this? It does baffle me though. When they were going through playtesting, did they not think, let's see how this goes? Yeah, it just that's
Yeah,
oh
and now mind you, this is after the first patch where they did kind of fix the lighting a little bit. So it if you can imagine when the game launched and in beta, the lighting issues were worse than this even. Um so keep that in mind too, but that's a great question because the question I ask is like this is so blatantly obvious. How did they not catch this and think, hey, we really need to fix this before we release the game? Like this, how is this not higher up on their priority? Like it is a problem, and like it does make certain scenarios unplayable
in
just
fact,
because you cannot see what's in front of you.
Captain Pilcard said I would never have been able to identify there was a silhouette blocking the window. Yeah. But yeah. that,
Yeah,
that's true.
like
Yeah.
and again, and that's where like you know being a longtime competitive FPS player, I've built up enough of a mechanical skill set that like as soon as I see something like that, I automatically know, right? Whereas other people who haven't developed that skill as much would need more processing time.
Yes.
They'd need more time to sit there, realize, oh, there's
But
something
by that
covering
time
that
you're dead.
window. Oh, it's
You're dead
a
by then.
silhouette. Oh, it's an enemy. And as you just said, oh, and now I'm dead. Like
Yeah,
by the
I
time
would
they've
be
even
that.
processed
Yeah.
that there's something there, they're dead.
Yeah.
Um, which is also another issue is games modern multiplayer FPS is having such a fast TTK BTK. Um,
What's that for us? Uneducated viewers
Delta
like
for
me.
so TTK is time to kill and BTK is bullets to kill. Um, and there are overlaps to both, right? Because a gun that kills in 3 bullets obviously can have a pretty quick TTK depending on the fire rate, or you could have a gun. Let's say you have one gun that kills in 4 bullets, but it's a 500 RPM gun, right? So it shoots 500 rounds per minute. And then you've got another gun that kills, instead of 4, it kills in 5 or 6, but it's an 800 RPM gun. That 800 RPM gun will actually have a faster TTK time to kill because of the RPM of the weapon. So if you land all your bullets because it fires them so fast, it'll actually kill quicker than that 4 BTK gun, even though it's a higher bullet to kill. And when we say BTK, where I'm talking strictly about like body shots, so like chest, anything like that. It's like in Battlefield, when if you hear me or somebody say, "Oh, this is a 4 BTK gun out to 40 meters and then 50 to 100 it's a 5 to 6 BTK gun." We're referring to strictly if you hit every shot and every single shot lands in the somewhere in the chest or torso area without missing, that's how many bullets it would take for that gun to kill that person.
Isn't that, but wasn't there that guy on YouTube, one of your, I say your Hitler, but not on your Christmas. The one who's got a spreadsheet of all of, and then he goes through, is it the
Oh,
guy?
Rel.
Oh, oh man. Because, like, judging by what you said, I would have thought that you'd be on board with that. But then, didn't you say that
No,
his an look, he's not even expanding on it. He's like, we're not going there. We're not here to discuss
no, no.
it now.
It's just you can't, and this is the problem because we're starting to see this right now in Battlefield 6 when people are bringing up like talking about balance. I'm like, guys, if you want to make the gunplay better in Battlefield 6, you do two things: increase the recoil, and every gun across the board, increase it by at least one bullet by one BTK. So if it's a 4 BTK, it becomes a 5. If it's 5, it becomes 6, etc. Those two changes alone will dramatically change the gunplay in the game, make it less beamy, and introduce more of a skill gap. Because with recoil plus spread, now you have to learn. I mean, you already do in Battlefield. You have to know how to tap. You have to know what tapping and bursting is, and that is that. So that skill is required depending on the gun you're using. That skill should be required for every weapon. Just
I
absolutely,
feel like I've got serious FOMO because I buy it, so I
you
know
should.
what's going. I
Like the
should,
like
but I feel like you know in Family Guy with the clip at the end of the show and they're playing Call of Duty and Pete's like, "Hey
oh
guys," you
god,
know, and he says, "Yeah." I feel like that would be you with me. Like you'd be like, "Yeah, let's give it a go," and then you just be losing. Like, "What the fuck are you doing, Rosie?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I don't
no, no, no.
know."
So two things. One, Battlefield 6, while it does have some issues and they're being addressed, um, it has good bones. I do enjoy the game. It is fun. Um,
He
but again, you
enjoys
have to
getting
keep
that
in
angry.
mind, yeah, well, you have to keep in mind I'm filtering it through a competitive player's lens. And like even like if I go to my Battlefield stats right now,
Oh my
I think
god.
uh hold on. If I go to my stats page, Uh, okay, I've fallen a little bit, but I'm still in the top 0.1% of the game percentile of players in the game. And this, we're talking about a game that has somewhere between a quarter million to like 400 or quarter million to like 300 to 400 thousand players, and I'm in the top like 1 percentile. Um, so and again, I'm not saying that to like jerk
Nice.
myself off here or anything. I'm just saying it to illustrate a point. When I complain about something, it's through the lens of a
That
competitive player, somebody who like, for me, playing good and improving and getting better and improving my skill set is fun. You know, that's where I get my jollies. Like that's fun for me. Because you hear people, oh, I'm just playing for fun. Okay, cool. So am I. I'm just doing it differently than you.
but this is
Like,
why I I'm not a fan of the map. Way back when had servers that were based on skill level and you knew not to join them. Now I don't know what you think about that, but that's kind of where I'm at. That's what I would like to see. And then you progress servers as you get better. Like if you're
yeah,
casual, join casual. Now if you're competitive, here's a server that's competitive, or expert level, whatever.
I miss that. No, I miss that.
That would fix this problem, would it not?
It
Like,
would. It absolutely would. Yeah, server browser would absolutely fix this because exactly what you're saying. Team Fortress Classic, Counter Strike 1.5,
yes,
Counter Strike 1.6, Counter
yes,
Strike Source. I use like all those games when I got to a certain point and started like playing them more seriously and like with teams and in matches and things. Even when I'd play pubs, I would only join servers that were like advertised as like competitive nature.
yes,
Like if you
as you
play this
would.
server, expect there to be players who are gonna wreck you in this. Like I could go and join those and only play those. And for people that didn't want that experience, there were tons of other servers like, oh, I'm gonna go play a surf map and goof off. Like you had the
Tough
option to
man.
do one or the other and everything in between, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, no, I think it absolutely would go a long way to fixing that
But
issue because
where
people
did
could make servers like that people like myself would enjoy,
yes.
and then there'd be servers for other types of people to enjoy.
It feels like this reduction of question to I was matchmaking in the first place. Do they think now, like, is it like, oh, you're not intelligent enough to, like, it takes away, and this is why I say I'm not a
I
fan of it, away from unique servers, the different feel of servers, like even custom. sounds and shit they used to have in the chat.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and they were great. And I remember Soldier Fortune 2 had great.
Sam Monica.
But why did they move to this matchmaking?
And I'm trying to remember the game that first introduced matchmaking. I think it was Call of Duty. Um, I don't know exactly. That being said, from what I remember in its infancy, matchmaking, um, I even then I don't know. I think whatever its original intention was, at least in present day, it has at least nowadays it has more to do with how everything has to be service oriented in some way. It has to be this pre-procured experience for you. You're not allowed to procure your own experience, which I think is bullshit. Um, but yeah, I honestly don't really know. Um,
'Cause
in my mind, I see no reason why you couldn't have server browsers. I just
I would.
it's a design choice.
I don't get it. We should be allowed to start our own. And I think I do wonder whether that for players like you, whether they want that for narrowing of the skill gap, so they can say, well, hey, why don't you and your friends pay like $10 a month, and we will expert only stuff. Like whether it's an excuse to introduce kind of hearing model.
Eh,
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out there because they want money. That's kind of where I'm going.
yeah, I mean, again, the only real way to solve that is to bring server browsers back. Because when money starts getting involved, I have a whole different set of issues with that.
Yeah.
Um,
But that's my only, like, why would they introduce matchmaking? And I do think
I
it
don't know what the
does.
original intent was. That's a great question actually.
It reduces community feel well, and I know it might sound a bit cheesy and cliched, but you join a server and you knew the people who were like there regularly, and I think that was part of the charm of it, so to speak. And now you don't have any of that. When you're match made and just thrown into it, and I do think that does have a knock on effect with team playing, and I
Oh yeah,
noticed,
absolutely.
yeah, and there's like loads of people apart from you guys in your Discord call. Maybe there are other people playing with who have their own Discord call, but people don't really talk to each other in the same team. So how do you get that tactical
No.
planning or discussion, or as you say, even critical feedback? No matter how it may be delivered.
Yeah, it sucks. Like, prox chat is basically dead in games now. And team chat, like again, like in Counter Strike, when you have team chat, right? You talk in comms, your whole team hears you.
Yeah.
Whether you're in, um, just a casual server that's got like, you know, 20 plus people on each side. You got 20 CTs, 20 Ts, and but you talk and on comms, and all 19 people on the team can hear you. Whereas in Battlefield and game, in Call of Duty and things like where this lobby system, it's like your comms are only good for the people that it puts you in squad with. So 4 people, including yourself. And that's the other stupid thing, because like with Battlefield, there are times where there's more than 4 of us playing at a time. So we have a full squad. So what what the 5th and 6th person has to do is wait until the queue pops, the game loads in, and then they have to join the game off of one of us at just the right time so that
Oh,
they get loaded into the match, so that they don't have to wait in a server queue to be loaded in. With like, we can't even play, like lobbies are so
yeah.
grotesque nowadays. You can't even play with all your friends anymore.
That's
It's like you're
right.
limited to like 5, or
Yeah.
whatever the number is, 4, 5, 6, and that's it. Like, nope, you do not get any more friends, because
Yeah.
we know you're a basement dwelling neckbeard with no friends. Here you go, 4 people. Like, I
Do
just,
you think it is? It's a deliberate, targeted campaign against guys with neck beards who live.
I don't know. It's a great question. No, but it's just stupid, because like, again, I play with, there are a lot of people that I play with, and we would love to be able to, like, if there's 7 of us on, all 7 of us are in the same queue and we get loaded into the same game. Like we can play the game together. Like, oh, I hate these lobby systems. They're just so
Yeah,
grotesque to
Captain
me.
Pillcard agrees. I also like I do too, and
Yeah, exactly.
you'd be able to start one. Like I wasn't allowed to though because my dad said that if I start my own server, we'll get hacked. Apparently, was a thing back then. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it could be. Okay, to be fair, it could be. Like if you were somebody that hosted a game server out of your house and you didn't really understand what you were doing, somebody the olden days of I got your IP address. That was a thing. Like there were people who could grab your IP address off the server and then, you know, do malicious things to your home network or something. So yeah, that was a thing.
That checks out.
Um, but the easy way around that was server hosting companies, right? It's not your computer, not your house. It's a data center somewhere, whatever.
Yeah,
Um, so
yeah. No, I did try and open my own server for Sven Co-op when I was testing. Something.
Spenco, I missed that game.
Did you play it
Oh,
then?
I
I lost so many hours on
one of
that.
my buddies and I remember when Sven Co-op came out. I had so much time in Sven Co-op. I loved Sven Co-op. It was so much fun.
Oh, me too. No, totally. I did you ever play Ent mod in it? Like there was a mod. So they had these servers. They were called Ent mod, and the servers had maps like better than best map, the better than best map 2, and you join, and it was a
I
very
remember that.
it was
Yeah,
doesn't exist now, but it's a very early version of Gary's mod before Gary's mod came out.
I
And
remember.
what you would do, you'd have to install it a certain way. How I did this at 7 years old, I don't know because I couldn't do it now. But you had to install it in a very manual way, and then in the game, if it worked, you'd end up with the Star Trek phaser, and you could then no clip underground and pull up materials and copy them and build your own shit. And
Yeah.
what happened to that? It just died,
I
and
don't
now
know.
I
Yeah, I
can't
don't
find any.
know.
Yeah, I used to spend
I
so
mean,
many hours on that.
Gary's mod is still very much around.
Yeah, but that was what we
Um,
had before Gary's mod was Dent mod. And do you remember Oh My
yeah.
God? Oh My God 2? Like they were kind of
Mm,
climbing maps
I
Ben
don't think.
Cop had.
No, I don't think I remember
I
those.
did try
If I saw them, I'd probably know them.
but I did try it used to be really good fun back in the day, but now I did try and join Sven Cop and it's kind of like elimination turn based. Like the majority of the servers are like that. Yeah. And it's like
That's changed.
you've then got to spectate for the whole. Well, it's not like the game that's changed. It's like the servers that are hosting like an
Yeah.
elimination game now. So you don't really get the fun and the vibes. I might have a look tonight, but you don't really get the old school
I mean,
cycling through.
I remember in Sven Co-op, one of the peak things was just the chaos.
Oh my god,
That was the best part.
yeah. There was Secret City. You remember those by a guy called
Yeah.
Turrican? He was. Oh, I met him once. I was like, oh my god, and he was like, oh, I'm
I
glad someone
remember
remembers me.
we played a server that like it was like the usual, Sven co-op maps, but like they just cranked like even just the standard head crab zombies up to like 1,000 HP or something ridiculous. And it was like it was just pure chaos because it took everybody in the server,
Yes.
X amount of time to kill one head crab zombie. It
Yes.
was just
Oh, those were the. Then you had they had those sort of maps where you had a gargantua that had like a
yeah.
million HP. Oh,
God, I miss that.
I miss those. It was chaos. Yeah, it was bare chaos. And you had a lot, and then there was some of the maze maps. They had crazy maze and try all the rest of it. But now, yeah, it's basically like turn-based kind of elimination, which when you're alive is kind of fun, I guess. But then when you die, it's like, okay, I'll just float around the map looking for Easter eggs for half an hour.
Yeah.
Then, so yeah, I don't
Huh.
know. I might have another look at it. But yeah, I was all about that.
I might have to
2001.
go and reinstall it myself now. Now that
But
we're talking about it, man, I miss Fun Co-op.
oh, me too. But it's a standalone game now, so you don't actually need to own Half-Life 1, and it's free. So it's kind of like
Okay, okay, it has changed then because I remember you had to have Half-Life installed to play it.
yeah. But now it's standalone. They have all the assets. Now, how they got around that, I don't know. But yeah, it's free to play with all the assets. Quite something.
Okay,
Um,
well, I'm gonna be installing Sven Co-op then and seeing how it is now.
Oh my god, I have to see what server you're gonna join because oh man, the memories on that. But did you ever play Opposing Force Deathmatch? Because I was like, what the
Yes.
fuck was the point in that?
Yes.
If you had Half-Life Deathmatch, was it more
I
of a
don't know.
sniper-based thing or what?
No, it was just their own. It was just their own version of a death match. I, I don't think it was. I don't think it's any deeper than that.
I just honestly, it was like the most random kind of pointless deathmatch they had. That's why it wasn't very popular. But again, I
you
might look at
know,
those.
you know what was fun when Half-Life 2 originally came out, like the original orange box version.
Hmm.
Half-Life 2 deathmatch. You could basically do this. I don't know if it was just. It eventually got patched out, but you could abuse the physics engine by quick switching between the gravity gun and something else. Usually, like the crowbar is what I did. So you'd have the crowbar and gravity gun on quick switch, and then you would stand over like a car or a sheet of something, and then shoot. You would look down. You take the gravity gun out, look straight down, shoot that thing with the gravity gun, and then immediately start quick switching and shooting with the gravity gun in between quick switches, and it would eventually like that object would prop boost you up to like the skybox of the game. Like I remember
Ah,
prop boosting myself up on top of like weird areas and shooting people with a crossbow.
that's giving me another memory though. Sven Kopp, they had Mario themed maps.
They did, yeah, yeah.
And
Killing people with toilets.
yeah, and cartoon, Karaku, or whatever it's called. They had these cartoon theme maps. It was crazy.
I remember those. Yeah, I remember that.
Toon, I don't know. I can't remember what it was called, but stuff of nightmares. But no, those were the days. But I have heard of what you Half-Life 2 Deathmatch. I played occasionally, but it wasn't like groundbreaking like Half-Life. And Half-Life Deathmatch used to have, I don't know if you remember this, they had Team Deathmatch. No one seemed, and they had Oz
Yep.
Deathmatch, where you'd run into the runes, up the runes, and they would give you certain qualities.
I don't think I've really played that.
Yeah, that was
Oddly enough.
early Half-Life 1, like 2001, 2002. And you'd run, and it was kind of this floating icon. You'd run into it, and then you'd have like 50% more speed or more health or
Oh yeah.
invisibility. And now that's completely gone. I'm gonna have to do some podcasts, find the ancient
Yeah. No,
lost
seriously.
time. Entmod, Oz Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch
Yeah,
in Half-Life
I
used to
don't
be a thing.
remember that one. I don't know that I got involved with that one or played that mode. Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell, but
I'm gonna try and
that does sound interesting.
I now have a but one quick question. Did you actually ever play Soldier of Fortune?
No, I didn't.
It was good. So I would have
Was
thought,
it?
yeah, it was. It was. Well,
I know a lot of people like it was pretty like people liked it. I never played it.
no, I didn't know because that was good fun. The multiplayer was insane, and again had a lot of features, really skilled players and clan system. It was fantastic. I was
Yeah.
shocking, but now that's all a throwback.
I'm just trying to let's see.
Raven
It's the
Software.
same one I was thinking. Yeah, Raven. Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, I never played SOF2, but yeah, I know a lot of people that did and I mean, yeah, looking at it is like I think even at the time I was like yeah, that would be something I would enjoy.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's why I
excuse
think
me.
it fits into category. Um,
That was on PlayStation 2. But yeah, never played it. Anyway, with that said, I do have to get going here.
yeah, no worries. I'm gonna get
Getting a
some of the
little tired.
lasagna. I could tell by your yawning. I
Yes.
was like, yeah, hours, but
I'm so fried.
you're gonna download Sven Court first.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, we'll definitely play.
Awesome.
And
Okay.
more Rosie streams.
More Rosy Street. They will be coming. Well, thank you
Yes.
everyone for joining. We'll be back in throwbacks. We always end up going back to the retro discussions of how things. Yeah, I swear to God.
Yeah.
But there's a reason for that. But yeah, thanks to everyone for joining. Thank you for that 15 bits from Bravo News. Yeah, time.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you. We'll see you.